Hello everyone, I'm Barry Vanover. Welcome to the Ask Barry V Show. In this edition and a few upcoming editions, we're going to be showing you live questions from owners that attended this year's Martial Arts Industry Super Show. So you'll get to see the owners, meet the owners, they're asking the questions, and then we go into some cool discussion. I hope you enjoy it. Hey guys, I'm here with Davin Dixon. He is a program director at one of the Bobby Lawrence Karate Schools in American Fork, Utah. Mr. Dixon, thanks for being on the show today.
Thank you.
What kind of question you have for us?
I was just wondering, we've been considering instituting a SMART. What is the importance of a new student manual?
New student manual, the importance? You know, there's a lot of reasons why you want to do a new student guide. There's so many things that your students need to be aware of at your studio when they first become a student, and putting it together in we call a new student guide, or like you're saying, a new student email, putting it together in a document or a magazine that a family can go through it in their leisure and review. You may be trying to tell them a bunch of things upon sign up that they're never going to remember. But now mom and dad have the new student guide, and the adult student, they have this at home where they can read it in their leisure, they can always refer back to it, and you get to put those important things in there. I mean, everything about hyping your upgrade programs and explaining what these even are, to your attendance policies and when the schools are closed, and all of these things. Some of them are managerial things they need to know, some of them are systemized things they need to know, and putting it together in a document is powerful. And every school should have a new student manual, a new student guide. And it's also cool if you do it right. It adds to the overall experience. I mean, you come in, you buy martial arts. Every time a student signs up for martial arts lessons, they should be purchasing an equipment package, and then they have their new student manual. So they walk out there with stuff in their hand, you know, and it's something as simple as helping defeat buyer's remorse. They go home with some tangible things is important as well.
Yeah, sure. Okay.
So you should get together with your owners, and you guys just simply make a list of all the different things that you would want in a new student guide. I mean, the times of hours of operation, and you know what is, if you do a monthly parents night out, what is the parents night out event? All of that needs to be in the new student guide. And plus, you guys work with me all the time, just get a copy of mine and go through it. Some of the things you're going to want to use, some of the things you're going to come up with other ideas, some of the things like that doesn't pertain to Bobby Lawrence Karate, and that would be a good place to start.
Okay, awesome.
All right, cool, man. Thanks for being on the show. You having a good time?
Yeah, it's been a blast.
All right, good deal. Thanks so much, man.
Thank you.
Hey, what's going on, guys? I'm here with Coy. Coy, you were from where out in Florida?
Niceville, Florida.
Niceville, Florida. Where is that exactly?
That's near Destin, is a big popular
Destin.
place, in between Panama City and Pensacola.
Excellent. All right, so we're here at the Super Show. You had a question about White Belt Buddy Bash, is that right?
Yes.
Okay, tell us a little bit more about the question.
I did one myself.
Yep.
Big fan of the show. Watched
Thank
it
you.
numerous times. Tried to run one myself on a Monday night during a normal white belt class.
Okay.
I reached out to the parents, you know, through email, through Facebook, letting them know about this.
Yep.
Even offered, if you bring a friend, that you would get your first. We do patches on their uniform.
Yep.
They have to have it for belt graduation. So we offered that to them, and crash, burn, nobody showed up.
So none of the students showed up?
My normal students that come for class showed up, but nobody brought a friend.
Okay, sure. All right. First thing is, we don't do it in normal class. This is a party, man. This is for all the white belts that you signed up that particular month. So a White Belt Buddy Bash is always, for us, the last Friday of the month. So we're gonna take any kids that are ages 5 to 12 and make sure that they come to that event. It's ran like a birthday party without the cake and ice cream and presents, okay? So what we're gonna do is, every time that somebody signs up, we tell them about the White Belt Buddy Bash, and it's in the new student packet. It's not only a White Belt Buddy Bash, but it's also a new parent orientation. So it's almost mandatory. We obviously can't make them come, but we speak about it as though it's mandatory you have to come. So a Friday night from 6:30 to 8, and then as you've given the invitation, let's say you sign somebody up on the 1st and it's 4 weeks, that's a long time to forget about it. You'd mention that you reached out to them on Facebook and that you had emailed them, is that right?
Yeah.
Perfect, do all that. But we got to hit all lines of communication for any kind of event, whether it's a mass intro, White Belt Buddy Bash, testing, whatever. So email, Facebook, great. We're going to text blast, and then we're going to make a personal call. So for us, when we have it on that last Friday, Wednesday night, we're calling to confirm. The call is going to go like this. Hey, Ms. Johnson, this is Mr. Baker over at Premier Martial Arts. As you probably remember, this Friday from 6:30 to 8 is our White Belt Buddy Bash and also our new parent orientation. We're going to be going over a lot of the things that maybe I didn't get a chance to talk to you about so far this last month, and just to make sure that you can get any concerns or questions taken care of there. Also, I needed to know how many buddies is Johnny bringing, because as you know, we're going to have a pizza party, and I want to know how much pizza to order for all of our buddies. So what I've done was not only remind her of the event, put a little pressure on her. This is a new parent orientation, okay? And parents are used to orientations for school registration, summer camp registration, so forth. And then also tactfully reminded her that it is a buddy event. Bring a friend. Is it mandatory they bring a friend? No, but we kind of make it sound like that. And by me saying how many buddies are you bringing reminds her, oh, that's right, he's supposed to bring a friend. I think we're going to bring 2 friends. Excellent, right? So it's about promoting it as a party. Of course, it's in your class announcements, understanding it's a pizza party. And then I'm not sure if you understand the different blocks of it, but we run it as an hour and a half. And that first half hour is going to be a martial arts birthday party and kind of a greeting where all the students get to know each other and their buddies. The second half hour is going to be that structured martial arts lesson where all the buddies are taking their first lesson, which is the first of 2, to get that free uniform and earn a white belt, right? Just like their friend who had brought them there had done earlier that month. And then that last half hour, we're having a pizza party. Now, while somebody is giving pizza to all of the kids, manager or owner, yourself is going to sit down with the parents, and we would go over our new student guide. So just some of the things they probably picked up the couple of weeks, perhaps somebody you may have just enrolled the day before, they really haven't got all the ins and outs of your school. So it's a great retention tool as well, because think of all the things a parent needs to know that you can't really get across in an enrollment conference, right? So I think one big mistake was it doesn't sound like it was in a party, and of course you did it in your normal class.
Sure.
But the little tip about the pizza definitely will help you bring the buddies, and for you, I know you understand our mass intro systems, people watching, all those kids that did that lesson, the buddies, are going to get that invitation to come back Saturday morning to your mass intro, earn their white belt, get their free uniform, and break a real board just like their friends. So those things would change it, and I'd love to hear how, let's see, we're in July, in August, how your White Belt Buddy Bash goes. Any other questions?
No, that'll be it. Thank you, Miles.
Awesome,
Appreciate it, man.
Cool.
Thank you.
Hello, everyone. We are here with a friend of mine and very successful school owner, Mr. Caleb Plank from Inferno Martial Arts, in and around Bentonville and Arkansas area.
Yeah, the Northwest.
Northwest. We could say the name of the cities, but nobody would really know where
Nobody
they're
cares.
at. But you
Nobody
do have
cares.
3 awesome, successful schools serving those
do.
communities and having an impact and making a lot of money, which is what's important. So how you
doing
liking
well.
the Super Show here?
And it's a good time.
Yeah.
I mean, we always love coming to Vegas. I love bringing my staff because they get motivated, they get new influences.
It's a free tax write-off to come to
It's a
Vegas,
free
whether the
tax-
show's good or it sucks.
I just can't
It's
let
just
my
fun
accountant
to
hear
come
that.
to, man.
Yeah, I mean, it's always a good time.
Yeah.
I love coming out. I get to see everybody. I
Yeah.
mean,
But the show didn't suck. Okay,
Yeah.
actually, it was great. It was good, and it's always good to see everybody.
Yeah, the show's been good. I went to a session this morning that was really good. I mean, and it's stuff you already know, but just reminds you. It's like, man, I got to get that.
That
together.
always cracks me up too when everybody goes, "Oh, your seminar, for years," or they'll see something on video, or "Oh, I watch your stuff. I already knew it, but it's good to hear it again." And I'm thinking, if you already knew it, then why don't you do something with it?
Hey man,
that
it's like a
cracks me
coach
up.
trying to tell you keep your hands up. It just sometimes you need a reminder. You need to get punched in the face. That's
Yeah.
like, oh
But
man.
nobody wants to admit, "Oh, damn, I never heard that before," or "I didn't think of that." "Oh, I knew that. I heard that." That's funny.
Because for me, it's fundamentals. Like I go back to basics where it's like, man, I need to train my staff better.
Right.
You know, like I need to make sure that this process is smoother.
You know, the big question is why they come here, they'll get excited, they learn something. Where's the disconnect between knowledge? Well, I think the disconnect between knowledge and implementation is understanding. They hear something, they hear a good idea, but they just don't really have the details to make it work.
Yeah.
So the understanding is missing, they lose faith in the concept, and then they fizzle out and they go back to normal within a couple weeks of being here.
They
you know?
revert back. Well, I mean, I think a lot of it's accountability too. You know, where it's like, I'm going to do this, and you go back. You're the only one with the vision. You know, if you bring some staff, it helps. But when you're the leader, you're like, we have to figure out a way to do this and a way to do that. And all the same while you go back and stuff piled up while you're gone. You're dealing with a parent. You're dealing with a kid. I got to pay the taxes. Payroll's due. So I think the accountability piece is good, where you kind of maybe get aligned with people. It's like, man, I got a coach, I got a mentor, I have a consultant. And just like how I do for my students, you know, like I'm a reminder to them and an educator, but that accountability, that's been huge for me.
Well, the thing about having a coach or having a mentor or doing business consulting is a school owner there's this phrase, it's, probably overused, but you just don't know what you don't know.
True.
So, they hear all of these success stories that people are having, but they just have no clue what the journey is, how to get there. And that's the frustrating part for them.
I was that guy. I was that guy.
Honestly, I've had consultants myself. Digital marketing was an area that we were weak on, which I think a lot of martial arts schools still are.
Yeah.
But me and Mr. Baker paid a guy $3,000 a month to coach us in mentoring. We paid another company and went through their courses and training programs because we knew that was an area we needed to work on. And we know that you got to pay for what you get.
True.
And nobody's going to give you, sometimes free advice is the most expensive advice you can get.
Man.
So,
I've been that guy too. It's like, I met this guy, he's really smart, and it's like, I'm going to do this, and then it just almost cost you.
I remember when the Gulf War happened, some dude was like, hey, you can buy these penny stocks for the Iraqi dinari, dollar, or whatever that is, dinari. That's probably sounds like something out of Game of Thrones. I don't even know if that's their currency.
Transformers, man.
But he's like, because the government's going to go in and they're going to rebuild the country, their dollar's going to go sky. I'm like, I think I'm going to pass.
Yeah. And that was probably a good
Probably
choice.
was a good pass, right?
Probably a good choice.
So free advice definitely can be very expensive advice.
Man, that's so true. I've had free advice just because somebody was passionate, good speaker, and you don't always know the details on the back end.
Right.
They look the part, they act the part, and you're like, well, man, these got to know something. And then like later on, especially now, because I've been around for a minute, I look around at some things that I've followed or listened to, and I'm like, yeah, if I would have known that in the beginning, probably would have went that direction.
Man, the biggest advice I could give a school owner that is struggling is you definitely need consulting, preferably on a mentoring or leadership program. Like when we do our Leader's Edge program, we go visit their school. How can you mentor or coach someone that you don't even know? You've never met their staff, you've never watched their classes, you've never seen their intro procedures or sales procedures. You don't really know anything other than what they're telling you, answering questions over a phone.
Yeah.
So, definitely find a mentor and coach, get some really good business systems. And when you're picking one, and go for social proof. Just because a guy said something doesn't mean it's true.
Yeah.
So you got to really look and see who's really walking the walk, talking the talk, and then their systems are real. And then why when people are picking a business consultant, why aren't they calling the clients that used to work with that company to see how the experience was?
Yeah.
For example, you did probably 2 years of my program with me. Now you know everything I know. We're great friends.
True.
And but you did it. You don't need me anymore, right? But if somebody calls you and you go, hey, I heard you worked with Barry Vanover. How was that experience? How was the systems?
And I know that you put me out there as a reference, and maybe I got one call one time, but the volume of people, because that's what I look at, man. I'm all about modeling excellence. I want to go to your school.
Man.
I want to see what you're doing. I want to see what you're performing. You mentioned that founder thing when you gave your talk, in there about that founder movie about McDonald's, and they chalked it out on the parking lot. I'm like, that's what I want to see, because if you don't come see my school, it's like when you came to spend that time with me, like you saw the layout, what we had to work with, you can adjust the plan, where I feel like there's a big disconnect of that, where people are just call up and they're like, well, here's the cookie cutter answers.
Yeah.
When it's like, man, I tell anybody to keep their hands up, be a better kickboxer, but that's not what they need to be.
People
a
get
high-level
really
performer.
excited on the smoke and mirrors, the rah rah rah. Some consulting company has a big company behind them, but call their clients that used to work with them and get referrals from them. If you're trying to figure out what you want to do, consulting or mentoring in any business is very, very important. You go and buy a franchise, and you're going to buy whether it's a McDonald's or whether it's any type of franchise, those are the experts. The people that own the franchise, they're helping you. But if you try to mom and pop it and do it yourself, your learning curve is going to be rough, and it's going to take a long time.
Reinventing the wheel.
So mom and pop karate schools, you're not buying into a franchise, but you can find the guys out there that have the information for you. but look for social proof. Have they done it themselves? Are they creating it in other people's businesses and schools? Don't just take people's word for it. you know?
I've got friends that have bought into like fitness franchises. It was like Anytime Fitness, and,
Snap Fitness.
yeah, stuff like that. I got a couple friends that bought into those, and like that was the biggest thing they said is they got this book that was like, this is exactly what you need to do. And they're like, okay, I can do this, and then they made an adjustment. Well, we're gonna take this piece out.
Yeah.
And we're gonna take this piece out. A year later, they're struggling. They're calling other owners like, man, can you help me? You know, and the guy comes in, but they made all these little adjustments that caused a major flaw.
Absolutely, you
And
don't
that-
realize it.
And that was me too, because like as I've come up with our organization and growing our gyms, I've always been, well, I want to do it this way. I want to adjust it and change it, and that has cost me so much money and time that it's ridiculous. I look
Well,
back.
I don't know that it's just our industry specific, or it's just human nature to want to put a little bit of your own
Yeah, it's ego.
mojo into something, or a little, yeah, maybe
It's
it's
ego.
ego, or I
It's
want to
ego.
tweak this to add my own personality. And you know that ruins it. You know, it's the old. I know this is a lame analogy, but it's so true. You know, you love this awesome looking coconut Italian cream cake, wedding cake, but you don't like eggs, or you're going to all of a sudden you don't have the same product. You know,
Yeah.
you didn't follow directions, you didn't use all the right ingredients. You know,
Success has a recipe, and success leaves clues. And I think that sometimes, you know, whenever we see that somebody created something, we kind of take away the structure they followed in creating, because they were listening to somebody.
Yeah.
I mean, some things you got to make up and follow on your own. I mean, like you talk about your mentors, a lot of people you listen to that, you know, there was a time where you had to follow their direct advice.
and you had to
get
have
through.
faith and trust that it's going to work.
That's true.
You know, you can't. You know, once you believe in what they're doing, you got to do it all in. You know?
And trying to mix and match, I think people struggle with that. I'm going to take this piece and that piece,
Yeah.
and it's different operating systems. That's like whenever like my coach, when I ran into him, I'd been doing a lot of different martial arts, training a lot of different things, and he's like, man, you got to get your operating system tighter, where it's like, yeah, that's great information, but it doesn't correlate to the other things you do.
Yeah, yeah.
I think same thing in business.
Got to have that cohesiveness.
Yeah.
that synergy.
No, I agree, and it just and reinventing the wheel. It's like, man, just follow the advice. Follow the advice. When you get there, that's when you can adjust.
Yeah.
Get the success first, because that's what I struggled with for so long, and it took disparity where I finally just my will gave up, and I
You're
was
just
like,
so tired of messing around. Now I'll
"Yep,
do anything.
I'm just gonna follow whatever you
Yeah.
say." And when I did that, like I got immediate results, and then I was able to adjust and tweak and put a little flavor into it of like, well, you know, we've adjusted this over time. But I think people get too excited about being the successful person before they achieve the success.
Right.
I mean, I know I struggle with that too, especially, you know, my early 20s. I'm a fighter. I'm making this idea, and I want to be the guy. And I got a little bit ahead of myself of trying to be the guy before I had really earned it yet. you
Yeah,
know,
yeah.
And, so, you know, I learned a lot of lessons that way of just sometimes you got to pay your dues and you make the success happen before you can reshape what it looks like.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean,
good
it's-
advice,
it's
man.
huge.
Good job.
Oh, appreciate it.
All right,
man.
thanks for
I've had a
stopping
good
by the
mentors.
booth. Yeah, well,
Had
thanks,
some good
man.
leadership.
All right,
so
what are we
it's fun.
doing tonight?
We're gonna have some fun, man.
All right, sounds
Thanks,
good.
Tom.
See you guys later. Thank you.